Hello everybody, it's Thorfinn here, and today what I want to do is essentially talk about Sova on Abyss, right? So Talon and Team Secret duked it out in APAC to see who qualifies for champs, and Talon won. You know, they have their new rookie, but one of the maps that they played that I think is kind of the reason that they won, and I think at Champion Soul it's going to be a huge reason of why teams do well. It's, are they good at Abyss, right? So for example, Sentinels is losing Split, which is debatably their best map. It's been their most dominant. When they won Madrid, they lost a few times there, but I'm not surprised, right? Because during kickoff and during all the other tournaments they played, their Split was essentially unbeatable. And essentially the way that they play the map is how everyone else plays Split, right? They define the meta on that map. So teams like that, where they're losing, Split, they're losing Breeze, and they're really good on those maps, you're gonna want to see how they do on Abyss, right? And adjusting to this new map. So I want to kind of talk about why I think Sova is really important. And the reason why I think Sova is really important is his shock darts are going to be very integral, right? Because the only way that you can really win on Abyss on defense is to anchor, okay? So I've talked about it in my Haven video, if you guys watch that, where I go over Killjoy, but as you can see, right, as we're looking towards this bomb site here, it's really open, and that's really good for defenders because it means that it's harder to just full site exec, dump util, and then boom, you don't have to worry about any angle, right? Whereas like maps like Haven, maps like, not Haven, but Ascent, for example, like on A site, you can just dump util on that site and full execute it and usually just brute force your way through it, and it takes the defenders really good counterplay. Whereas this, the defenders really don't have to throw counter utility, they can hide from it. It's really hard to get utility back here because you're putting yourself at like a really awkward angle, and if you're putting yourself at an awkward angle, you can get killed, right? The guy can drop down here, and so on, right? So making sure that their Sentinel gets 0 value is super important when you're on the attack side of Abyss. So I'm gonna shock dart to break trips, right? So trips on here are going to be here,
caution here, caution here, caution here,
and then pretty much here and here, right? Those are going to be the main trips you're going to want to worry about. Some really good Cypher players will throw trips down here to deny this, because this is super hard to clear, because essentially you can double up like this hell, and then boom, you can peek off your teammate who's super close, and so on, right? And then over towards A, the places that you're going to want to kind of focus your shock darts are here. And then here is kind of where I personally like to shock. Usually, right? Like that. You're just gonna break that trip. And then, I mean, you can just kind of wing this one, right? Now, I'm not gonna show you guys like super insane lineups, because again, I think that really doesn't help you actually play the game or learn the game. Because if you're playing Sova and you want to play Sova, you should learn lineups yourself. It's going to be a lot easier for you to remember them because you made them yourself. All the lineups that I've had for Sova, the ones that I've found for myself personally, are the ones that I remember, not the ones that I learned from watching like Average Jonas or like whoever, right? So, main things, right?
Revealing area.
This, pretty simple dart, very easy to help you take aim control. Next, shooting anywhere on this beam is going to be super good, whether it be super far back, whether it be super close. And the reason why is because you always want to focus putting your dart at the highest point of elevation, so it has more angles to scan from. Obviously, you're not going to be able to scan everything on this site. If you throw your dart here, I'm pretty sure it should scan essentially everything, unless they're like tucked right here, holding this insane off angle. Also, one thing with Sova is essentially you want to time shooting your dart with a breach flash. Essentially what that means is the guy right here, if he's right here, boom, dodges the breach flash, dart lands, pings him, boom, right? comboing your utility together is super important. It's the reason why I think a lot of people in ranked are really bad at playing Gecko, is they don't understand that his utility is super dependent on if there's other utility to back it up. So yeah, those are going to be where you're going to want to dart on Sova. How you're going to want to drone, right, is personally, this is the best way. Hold on. So make sure you jump.
Take flight.
To get extra elevation, because you do start to dip, right? As you can see, I'm dipping. But look, I'm getting all the info I could possibly need. If you really want to, you can go through here and get a boost of elevation as well. And then, boom. Yeah, you can see the entire site. The only thing you can't see is right here. And then far back CT. So, pretty good drone spot. Next, towards mid, you're going to want to shoot your darts essentially towards the ceiling. The reason why is because you're going to get the most value out of the scan, right? You'll scan here, scan here, scan here as well. Scanning everything in mid is personally really hard. So I think this is more of like a, hey, I'm going to scan one side to get info, and then I'm going to stun the other side and swing it, right? And get the info just with my gun. Also, one important thing that you need to know, and that everyone needs to know, I've already done it because I've been kind of working through everything, but if you go right here and you just and you spam, you break this. Breaking this is super important. It pressures the defense, as well as it makes it so where you can through the late round, right, you can get in here, walk all the way through, and then explode through this, which I think is really valuable. Next, I'm gonna go over towards the B bomb site here. So if you do a dart like this,
scanning ahead.
This is a really good dart. If they go super wide right here, they can not get scanned, right? But personally, I like this dart because if you combo it with like an Omen Blind or a Breach Stun right through here down this lane, this guy is fucked if he gets hit with it. Because usually if he's like right here and he gets hit with a Breach Stun, he can go this way, right? Or he can go this way and he can get out, right? But now you're getting guaranteed info as to where he's going, so you can adapt on the fly, throw util at him, or just kill him. Also, same principle. You're gonna want to. These large beams on these bomb sites are perfect for Sova darts. Right under here and right here are kind of going to be your weak spots, right? But those are always going to be your weak spots on a site hit. Just understanding that, hey, this is where they could be, right, is super important. And if you have info that they're nowhere else, probably right here. So, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of, this is why I think a lot of these like crazy dart videos aren't very helpful, because you don't need a dart that hits everything. You need to know what your dart hits. Does that make sense? Because if you know where your dart hits and you don't see anyone on the dart, then you know, hey, they're here. And that's information. It might not be, oh, I can wallbang him information, but it's, hey, I know where this guy is. So that's the most important thing. And then shocking trips, right here. Right here. Those are going to be where you're going to want to land those shock darts to break as many trips as possible. If you're playing against a really good Cypher player, he's going to put trips deep as fuck rather than towards these chokes. So he's going to put one like right here, right? And then right here would kind of be where I would put my Cypher trips, right? Because this, honestly, is a lost cause. I think fighting for this is fucking brain dead and stupid, because there's so many things that can go wrong if they go here, that just giving them that and just holding this, right, and holding this off angle and having all this info as they run up this long ass space and do all this parkour jumps, pretty useful, especially when, oh, I hear him running, and you just peek him while he's jumping and you kill him. So having trips like here and here is really good, especially because you're going to see a lot of cages roughly right here, so they can, boom, kill a guy off a trip, run back, pop another cage right here, and then if you run into this cage here, they'll kill you off the kill trip. So very important. On defense, I'd say it's a lot easier to take mid, kinda. But it's also not at the same time. It's easier to get information mid, right? Because you don't have to worry about this side. You need to just worry about this. at the start of the round. So throwing a deep dart like right here is super important. And what I think you should be doing is playing this like rotation position, right, and holding down mid, because you have like the ultimate, right, is super good on this lane. And these guys are getting shredded if they try to push you with your every ball, right? And they really can't do too much about you unless they have like a gecko or a breach. But even then, right, that's when you call over your teammate. He throws a flash for you. You just jiggle, you know, avoid the util, whatever. Also, one thing that you can do that I think is really good, right, is you rotating through here and just throwing a dart
Scanning ahead
like this. Kind of the same principle. It's super high in the air. It's behind them when they're coming in on the hit. You're going to get a lot of scans, right? Personally, one thing that I recommend to Sova players, right, is if you don't already use the Phantom, I would say try to use the Phantom, okay? And if you use the Phantom, you're kind of golden, right? The reason why is you don't have to worry about your bullet tracers. So spamming through these smokes and things like that is just not as risky in comparison to using like a Vandal, right, and going through these spams. Not saying that you can't spam through smokes with a Vandal. It's just usually if I have a Vandal, I'll do this when I spam and burst, so it's A, harder to see where I am in the smoke, and 2, B, I guess I should say, I'm just a lot more mobile. It's harder to hit me, right? Okay. When you're coming over towards the B site on retaking, pretty simple. You're just gonna want to drone here, right? Droning is the most important thing on this site. Because of these two angles, I think are going to be your prime post-plant positions, as well as hell, right? Any position where you have to actively jump down on an opponent is going to be really difficult to deal with. So getting confirmed information as to where they are to throw utility at them, like an omen blind or something like that, is super important to help you actually retake this. As well as, you know, using your dart is also really good, obviously. So kind of what I would do, personally, right? Come here.
Scanning ahead.
Throw the dart.
Take flight.
Then, okay, don't do that. Don't do what I just did. But then drone, right? So you can get as much info as possible and kind of help your teammates retake this bomb site. Using the Sova ult here is not that great unless, personally, I like to do it from right here. The reason why is because you're just completely safe, right? And as you can see, you hit everything. There's like no way they can run at you without one of your teammates catching them, and you're able to hit every spot that you really need to hit. So, pretty useful Sova ult spot. That's really kind of all I have for you guys, right? I try to keep these packed with just realistic information and not like, hey, you need to practice a lineup for whatever. Just like, hey, this is where you need your dart to land. This is where you need your shock to land. This is kind of how you should play. So yeah, you should play towards mid. Playing towards mid is super important. The reason why is because this shit is so difficult to deal with. You can't really trip it because, again, they can just 5-slam on you, and it's really easy to play post-plant because this rotation from here to here is like 17 seconds, I'm pretty sure. It's roughly in there. It's definitely like 13 to 17 is where I'd say. I'm pretty sure it's 17. So keeping this rotation alive is super important. So realistically, even if the bomb's going down, it's not bad to just dart this shit, right? Because then your teammates can rotate faster, and you guys can get on the retake and actually have a chance to win the round. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and leave a like and subscribe, and tell me what other agents on this map or on Haven, those are kind of the maps that I'm trying to work my way through with realistic, like, agents that you'd play on those maps. And yeah, I will see all of you later. Good luck in your end games. Peace.